Hello guys, it is JN, or, just Nintendo. It's no secret that Nintendo's probably gonna keep on milking the Nintendo Switch as long as they can. So if they're gonna make another Nintendo Switch sequel or console or successor, there are certain things that I personally would want to see in another Nintendo Switch. Number one, the hardware simply just has to be better. When it comes to either first party or third party, I just don't think it's okay that the Switch can just play certain games at 30 FPS looking all mushy and slow and just gross. It doesn't make sense that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, some of Nintendo's biggest, if not the biggest games on the system, are just left to look like utter trash sometimes. When that either comes to load times, how the game just looks in general, and when people end up taking the game on the Switch and just putting it on a computer and just like, hey, instead of the game running at 30 FPS, here's what it looks like at 60. And you're like, wow, why don't we have this? We need this, we want this. Please give this to us, Nintendo, this is all we want. So definitely, it's been 7 years since the Switch has initially came out. We need some hardware upgrades, and whether that is in handheld or in docked, it needs to happen. Now, another thing that I think that Nintendo should really work on, now that, that our main home console is also a handheld, like the 3DS, I think that we should bring over some of that 3DS charm that it had over to the Switch. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that we need more customizability. Of course, I'm gonna sound like everybody else, but just a Nintendo home screen being black and white really is bland and needs some work. You could throw in some free ones like you had on the 3DS, just simple cosmetic upgrades. Or they could start charging people like a couple in a bundle for like $1, 50 cents maybe, really cheap. Kind of like, how Mii costumes are for Smash. I'm talking like that low of a price, okay? We're not gonna go too crazy on the other stuff, We don't need to do any of that stuff. Speaking of the home screen, it just needs an overhaul entirely. The UI, it's kind of bland. I think we should really switch it up. No pun intended, but it just needs an overhaul. When you compare the UI on the home screen to the Wii U, Wii, 3DS, even the GameCube, I would put the Switch at dead last for cool home screens. The Wii U had the whole plaza with the Miis and games that were trending. That was super cool, and you actually had two home screens that you could flip between. The Wii, you had the old TV channels that you were flipping through. That was great. The 3DS, of course, had their own custom themes that you could put on there. And then the GameCube had the whole gimmick of it, of course, being a cube and you going from different sides of the cube for different things like the calendar, sounds, your storage, your not your micro, but just your SD card and games that you were playing too. And then the Switch is just kind of flat square, circles on the top, circles on the bottom. I mean, I guess the sounds are cool, The little sound that it makes when, you're changing up the Joy-Con order or something, or the gears whenever you're trying to do stuff in settings. I mean, they're okay, but I just think we need something new. And we really gotta switch up those colors, Nintendo. When I was speaking about 3DS charm too, I think that Nintendo should really focus more on going outside with the Switch, because of course it's a handheld. The 3DS had Street Pass. Your 3DS was powered on, you had it closed, you walked around, came near another 3DS, and guess what? You had Street Pass. That Mii would go to your island, and then your Mii would go to their island, You made little friends. You could even have them in your plaza playing games for certain things, winning prizes. It was great. It was a great feature. And I feel like if Nintendo makes something new, they don't have to bring back Street Pass, I'm saying, but they could make something new and really make people want to bring their Switches outside so they can share that joy with others. Because right now, as it stands, people, will bring their Switches outside, of course, but I feel like there's something missing. I feel like there's something missing, that sense of community, And I feel like if you want to bring it back, bring back something that's like Street Pass. Now, there's something super crazy that I want for the Switch, but if Nintendo does this, oh my gosh, I would buy 5 Switches for myself. And that is backwards compatibility. The Switch has Zero. Whoa. The Switch has no backwards compatibility. It does not exist. It's not there. The Wii U had backwards compatibility. The Wii had backwards compatibility. The GameCube had backwards compatibility. The GameCube. The SNES had compatibility with other things. You could play the hand. What was it? Wasn't it the Superboy? Yeah, the SNES had the Superboy, where you could play your Game Boy games on the SNES. The Switch has nothing. All you have is a $44.95 yearly plan to play emulators on your system. People want Virtual Console, but we don't have Virtual Console. We sadly have a bad online system and a bad expansion pass that nobody wants to pay for a limited amount of games that they really don't care for and they're probably buying for one game. Now my idea for this is that you make the Switch a little bit bigger, but not too big because the Switch is already a super slim console. You make it somewhat bigger so you can either put a disc in there so you can play your games, you know, on the go, on the handheld, and you know, still be able to play your old games. Or, this is where my crazy idea comes into, because, you know, the Switch is already super slim and you don't want to have your console to lug around, right? We don't want a Steam Deck on our hands, you know. We want to be better than the Steam Deck. My idea that I don't think I've heard from anybody else anywhere. You change the dock. You can still have a more powerful Switch that's in handheld, of course, because the dock really doesn't do anything, you know. You change the dock and make the dock a stronger piece of hardware. You put the Switch in dock and you play it on your TV, so when it's in docked mode, it actually boosts the Switch power, so it's a stronger system. And if you're gonna change up the dock, why not change it so you can actually put discs in there? So you put in your Wii U games, you can put in your Wii games, you can put in your GameCube games. It would be mind-blowing. It'd be mind-blowing. Maybe they can make an attachment so you can even put in your Game Boy games, your Game Boy Advance games, your 3DS games. Like this would be the ultimate monster. It would be the best machine ever. You're able to play these old games that you love so much. I mean, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. Make a more powerful dock somehow so we can just play these old games again. Or don't even make a bigger Switch like I was suggesting earlier. You just make a more powerful dock, right? You put in your game in there, right? And then you just get an online version to download. Because that's what some companies do. I'm not too sure which two companies. I think it's either Xbox or PlayStation or maybe both. But sometimes they will give you a game and you just put it in your system, right? And it gives you a download for it. So if Nintendo could just make a different kind of dock, right? You put in your games, you get a download of that game, and guess what? You have perfect backwards compatibility. Or, if you don't want to do all that, make them just bring back Virtual Console. But I don't think they're going to do that. But if they don't want to do that, I'm just saying, there would be no downside to making a more powerful dock for people to have games that look and play better while still having a more powerful Switch in general. It'd be a win-win for everybody. Nintendo could even sell cool different versions of the docks too. I mean, they could maybe, you know, put them in a pack with some decals in there, you know? It would be honestly great. What do you guys think? What do you personally want in a new Nintendo Switch, or do you just not want a Switch at all that's new and you just want to go back to having a handheld and a, you know, traditional home console? Let me know your thoughts down below. This has been Just Nintendo, and I'll see you guys next time.